So, what's up, guys? I'm back from my 10 days Vipassana meditation retreat, and I just got back a few days ago. Man, where do I start? What is Vipassana meditation, right? So, it's actually a form of active meditation that allows one to seek insights into the true nature of reality, and also helps one to seek the ultimate goal of total liberation, or plainly put it, purifying the mind. So how these 10 days are actually run is actually by abiding also by the 5 precepts, and that's to abstain from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, wrong speech, as well as intoxicants. Right. Apart from that, you also have to abide by the rules of noble silence. So that means no communication, no form of gestures, as well as any physical touch with any of the co-meditators or anyone else. The only time you can probably talk is when you have any queries or any doubts that you need to clarify with the assistant teachers or the course managers. So your day usually starts around 4 a.m. and ends around 10 p.m. And throughout the day, you'll be doing your meditations for a total of about 10 to 11 hours. In between, of course, you have your breaks, you have your breakfast, your lunch, and your tea break. There's no dinner. So the meals are also vegetarian, and what else? The teachings in the course is also run by audio and video recordings by the late Mr. Goenka, and you also have the assistant teachers there to guide you along the way through your meditation sessions. And if you have any questions or anything, they will have interview sessions throughout. So throughout the 10 days, it's actually pretty progressive in terms of the steps you take and the instructions that you receive from the course. So from the first few days, as you enter, you are going to be working on a meditation technique called Anapana, which is breath awareness. This is going to help you to actually sharpen your mind. So understanding that maybe you have no prior experience of meditation, when you go in, you're gonna understand that your mind is really noisy, messy, and you start to wander every few seconds into your thoughts. But that's completely normal, right? That's where you have to put in the work to try and catch yourself going into thought, and then gently bring yourself back to the focus of your breath, right? And then continue. So every time you catch yourself back from your thought, that's like completing one rep, right? So it's just like working out a gym or everything. You want to put in the amount of reps and sets into it. So it's the same thing. Every time you catch yourself back, that's a step forward. So don't worry about it. Just go with the flow. Trust in the process, and you'll eventually develop the level of focus that you need for the entire course. And from day 4 onwards, you actually learn about the Vipassana technique, and that involves body scans from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, and then back up again, back down, where you also observe and be aware of your body sensations that may arise anywhere throughout your body. So that may be like unpleasant sensations or pleasant sensations, but the point here is whenever you are having these sensations arise, just make sure you observe them objectively. And that's where they teach you about equanimity, which is not to attach yourself to any of the feelings. Don't react to these sensations with cravings or any aversions, because that might send you spiraling down, right? So along the way, when you have progressed through the second half of the course, sensations will start to arise, and they start to teach you about the law of impermanence, where with every sensation that arises, it will ultimately pass, right? So with having that knowledge and also practicing your equanimity throughout the course from the start, when you're sitting down, even cross-legged, you're sitting down for hours throughout the day, it's gonna hurt for sure. And that's what I witnessed as well, and what I experienced for myself. You start to have hurt in your knees, your lower back, right? Any kind of tiredness will start to arise, any doubt of yourself will start to arise, and that's where you start to battle your ego, and that's where you start to learn more about yourself. That's why at the start it's a huge dip, right? But when you come out at the end, after the 10 days, you're just like, oh wow, you've gained so much from it, and you'll start to develop yourself. You'll start to see that actually this can be implemented into your daily life. And when you implement it into your daily life, you start to see that you get more calm. So I've already been out for a couple of days, and I've noticed some changes already. Like I can see myself more composed and not so reactive, impulsive to certain situations. So yeah, but of course it's based on individual, right? So it may work for some people in different aspects than compared to others. I understand that there was also another person, co-meditator in my course, who has history of depression as well, and he was taking medication for it, but the assistant teacher told him to stop taking it. At the end of day 10, he was super happy, and he was saying how he didn't need the medication anymore. But the secret of making it sustainable is to make sure that he continues the practice. So that's something to take note as well, the continuity of the practice. They usually say you have to practice 1 hour every morning and 1 hour every evening, every day. So I know what you may be thinking, I don't have time and all that, but I think it's a matter of perspective and how you're gonna manage your time. Like for me, it has shifted my perspective of prioritizing meditations over my workouts. Yeah, you can imagine that, right? So I actually feel that this benefited me a lot, and that's why I wanted to make an effort to put the amount of time required to help me in meditations, in purifying the mind, and this is actually the 10 days is something allowing you to have a taste of the chocolate, of how you can benefit from this, right? And if you want to reach that ultimate goal of total liberation, you have to put in the work for a long time, right? So it's something that has to be very consistent. If not, the things that you benefited from or felt, right, it's gonna be lost after the 10 days if you don't practice. So for me, how I managed to fit it into my schedule is I cut down on my sleep so that I can fit in the meditations, because one of the things that I experienced as well is on day 4 I actually couldn't sleep. I only slept for like half an hour, and that's because I had like throbbing hands and feet, right? I could feel vibrations all over my body, and that was keeping me awake. So I actually approached the assistant teacher to ask him, how can I deal with it? Is this normal? And he actually told me it's normal. And after the course, I also spoke to a few other co-meditators, and they told me that they were also having trouble sleeping. So yeah, the assistant teacher actually advised me to, just remain equanimous, right? Don't get agitated, don't keep checking the time, right? Just lie down and be in a meditative state. Focus on your breath, do anapana, right? And just be at ease, because your body is still in a rested state. Although you're not like fully asleep, but your body is resting, your mind is resting. Just don't get agitated. Try to be in that meditative state as long as you can. Whenever you feel yourself going into thought, bring it back, right, to your breath. So I tried that the next few days, and although I only slept for maybe 1-2 hours, but when I woke up, I felt refreshed. Yeah, so it was quite interesting to see how that worked out. So I want to test it out, and so far I've been cutting back on my sleep, so maybe like about 5-6 hours a day right now. So far so good. I've also implemented my usual daily routines of working out, going to work and everything. It seems alright so far. So I'm pretty much gonna carry on and see how this plays out in the long term. So I'll provide a lot updates along the way. Maybe in a year's time, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so there are 2 key qualities that you'll be working on throughout the course, which they'll be pushing out to. That will be awareness, especially on your body sensations, and equanimity, right? So you gotta make sure that these 2 are balanced out, because if you have more than the other, it won't really work well. Because if you have more awareness of your body sensations but not enough equanimity, right, developed, then you're gonna have problems trying to work with the sensations and not trying to get attached to those feelings, and that may cause someone to regress instead. And if you have more of equanimity versus awareness, then you will be having a tough time to try and feel sensations, and that's gonna be hard from the start already, because then you've got nothing to work with, right? So that's why it's really essential for you to really put in the hard work for the entire 10 days duration, because 10 days is really the minimum time for someone to try and achieve something from this retreat. But you really got to make the effort, because you're really going to go down and battle your ego, and then You know, if you are really hardworking, you implement the right techniques and everything, you're gonna come up and you're gonna be like, damn. So would I recommend it to anyone? I would definitely say yes. I think this is something that everyone should try at least once. You know, as long as you put in the work, I'm pretty sure that you'll get something positive out of it. I came back, I shared my experience with my family. My mom's actually interested. She went in just a few days after me, and she's there for her day 6 right now, I think. And my dad will be going for his course sometime in next year. They have over 40 retreat centers all over the world, so you can take your pick whichever you want to go. They are run by donations, so contribute however much you want. It's on a basis of contributing to the next person that wants to attend the Vipassana retreat. So yeah. So another thing to take note as well is if you practice other forms of healing modalities or meditation techniques, you want to stop that for the 10 days so that you can give a fair shot to the Vipassana meditation. And even after that, because I practiced Reiki before attending this course, I learned that it's not good to mix Reiki and Vipassana as well, because with Reiki you deal with universal energy on the outside. With Vipassana you're working with your energy inside. When you mix the two, according to the teacher, from past students, they actually regress from practicing both at the same time. So you kind of have to choose which path you want to go. I mean, both are good, right? But you have to choose which path you want to take, right? And which works well for you and which you prefer. So if you decide to continue Vipassana meditation after the 10 days course, just make sure you do the research if you are also practicing other kinds of techniques, just to make sure that it doesn't affect your progress. So yeah, if you have any questions, any doubts, or you're hanging on the edge, deciding whether you want to apply for a Vipassana course, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll get back to you happily. If not, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe so that other people can be aware of this beautiful technique as well, and they can experience it themselves when they apply for a Vipassana course, right? If not, just remember your body is a temple, treat it like one. Be happy.